Schmeichel, give a Schmeichel, give a Schmeichel, give a smile. Give a Schmeichel, give a Schmeichel, be the reason someone smiles. Give a Schmeichel, give a Schmeichel, give a Schmeichel, give a smile. Give a Schmeichel, give a Schmeichel, be the reason someone smiles. Give a Schmeichel, give a Schmeichel, give a Schmeichel, give a smile. Give a Schmeichel, give a Schmeichel, be the reason someone smile. Give a Schmeichel, give a Schmeichel, give a Schmeichel, give a smile. Give a Schmeichel, give a Schmeichel, be the reason someone smiles. Simba, gedola, liyo, liyo, besimcha. Simba, gedola, liyo, liyo, besimcha. Simba, gedola, liyo, liyo, besimcha. Simba, gedola, liyo, besimcha. Simba, gedola, liyo, 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 besimcha. Be the reason someone smiles. 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 Simba gedola, liyo besimcha. Simba gedola, liyo liyo besimcha. Simba gedola, liyo liyo besimcha.
Gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go.
Breakfast with Elli.
Mode ani lefanecha melech chai v'kayam shechazarta bi nishmati b'chemla raba emunatecha.
In those days, he used to think of the songs constantly, and he would think of a song while he was on the subway, and he would run to a payphone and call his answering machine and sing the song into his answering machine so he could remember it and develop it into a song. So I think it was later years on a different radio station, and I think it was 1984. Anyway, I said, Shlomo, did you write anything today? He says, yeah, I wrote one thing today. I said, could you sing it for me? So he starts singing, David Melech, Melech Yisrael. Well, that's what he started singing. That's what he wrote on that day in 1984.
Wow. Good morning and welcome to Breakfast with Elli. It is Wednesday, the 17th day of January, the 7th day of Shevat. The Torah portion is Bo. HaYom Yom Revi'i L'Shabbos, the fourth day, counting up towards Shabbos, be learning the fourth Aliyah. Good morning, how are you? Well, it is sunny and bright and clear and all of 20 degrees here in bright, sunny Riverdale, New York in the Bronx. I hope things are well with you. And we'll go from there, all right? Men and boys, please take your two front sitzes. Let us make a bracha. Ready?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al mitzvat tzitzit.
All right, everyone together, Al Divrei Torah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al divrei Torah.
Areini Mekabel.
Hareini mekabel alai mitzvat taseh shel ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. I take upon myself every single day to love my fellow friend in a very special way.
Torah Tziva.
Torah tziva lanu Moshe morasha keilat Yaakov. Torah tziva lanu Moshe morasha keilat Yaakov.
All right, time to give tzedakah.
I put it in the pushki, the tzedakah box. I put it in the pushki, the tzedakah box. I put it in the pushki for someone else to keep. Yeah, I put it in the pushki, the tzedakah box. I put it in the pushki, the tzedakah box. I put it in the pushki for someone else in need.
All right, fantastic. Try to do the best. All right, and now it's time to say the Shema. Are you ready? Let's go.
Shema Israel Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Amen.
All right, it is time for coffee and cottage cheese this morning. Yeah, I got to go shopping for yogurt. Are you ready? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehakol niyeh b'dvarai.
Coffee, blessed coffee. God bless you for being a friend. When the whole world turns on me, it's only you on which I can depend. I want to taste you in the morning and a few times throughout the day. Yes, a cup or two in the evening too. For me, it's the only way. Yeah.
All right, fantastic. And that takes us to today in Jewish history. Oops, where's the history? What happened here? All right. Today in Jewish history. Where is it? Where's my history section? It got away from me. Today is the yahrzeit of Rabbi David of Lelov, the Chassidic master Rabbi David Biederman of Lelov, the Lelevarov, was a disciple of the seer, the Choza of Lublin. Reb David was known for his extraordinary Ahavat Yisrael, his love of his fellow. It was said of him, he was incapable of seeing faults in a fellow. Two printed collections of stories about him are called Migdal David and Kodesh Hilulim. All right. Tonight we do Kiddush Levana, the 7th of the month. We do Kiddush Levana. If you haven't done it already, last Motzai Shabbos, you should do it tonight. All right. Very important. Tonight is also the yahrzeit of Mr. Bruce Sachs, beloved father of our friend Peter Sachs. So if you're inclined to do a mitzvah in someone's name, please do that tonight. That would be most appreciative. All right. Miracles in our Torah.
Necessarily labeled as miracles, or they're not as magnanimous as the splitting of the sea or whatever it may be.
All right, let's try that again. That didn't work right. Here we go.
Why doesn't God show himself to us like he did in the Bible? There were times in history where God did these magnanimous miracles. For example, splitting the Red Sea, or the Sea of Reeds. These great miracles happened because ultimately those generations needed to see those things. The world needed to see those things, in essence, to see the greatness, the holiness of God. Once that's been established, and has been established, there wasn't that need to do those same level of miracles again. God does not bring about these huge overt miracles for no reason. Each one is very specific to a specific time, to a specific people, and a specific place. There are miracles that happen on a daily basis. They're just not necessarily labeled as miracles, or they're not as magnanimous as the splitting of the sea or whatever it may be.
And that's why we don't necessarily notice them, but they are there. All right. HaYom Yom for today, the 7th day of Shevat.
היום הזה הוא זמן שמחתנו, שמע את התפילה שבליבנו, ותמחול את כל עוונותינו.
For some religious people, science is a big problem. Never mind the fact that back in the 17th century, the church could jail you for believing that the earth goes around the sun. Even today, you bump into lots of people who think that science and religion are mutually exclusive. Judaism teaches that, like everything in this world, science is a creation of God, of Hashem. If you engage in the pursuit of knowledge with the proper attitude, you discover that science is not a menace to religion, but on the contrary, science is a powerful lens through which you can gain deeper knowledge of God's world and the Torah. From a very young age, Rabbi Shneir Zalman, the first Rebbe of Chabad, made it his business to use knowledge, secular knowledge of the world, to expand his Torah horizons. Says today's HaYom Yom. When the Alter Rebbe was 9 years of age, he studied geometry and astronomy. Using this knowledge, he composed a calendar for 15 years, a 15-year calendar. A couple of years later, when the Alter Rebbe was 12 years old, it happened that he lectured publicly on the Rambam's laws of Kiddush HaChodesh. Kiddush HaChodesh are a complex series of laws that give all sorts of complex astronomical calculations in order to determine the exact moment that the moon, the new moon, is sighted. The preeminent Torah scholars who were present at the time of this lecture in the study hall were completely overwhelmed. Let's not be afraid of knowledge of the world. Let's not run away from it. Let's use science to become smarter and more committed Jews.
Very important. Very, very, very important. All right. We are fortunate to have Rabbi Chaim with us for Bas Lagani. Let's do Part 21.
Good morning. Today, and ministers. Who are those people? Those are the Jewish leaders of the generation. So, for example, the Rebbe is one of the distributors of the treasures of the heavenly storehouse. But who are the recipients of such distribution? That would be us, the rank and file Jews, as the previous Rebbe calls them, or the Pashat Yidden, as we would say in Yiddish, the simple Jews. Because it really is us with our emunah, our tefillah, our mitzvahs, our Torah and mitzvahs. It's we who are the ones who secure the victory for Yisrael, for Bnei Yisrael. And that is why it is we who are called Sivas Hashem, the host of Hashem. And the term Netzach Yisrael, as the previous Rebbe points out, could either be defined as the eternal of Israel, which means Hashem himself, or it could be defined as victory of Yisrael. Both of these terms are essentially synonymous, because victory is Hashem himself. But because we are the people who use this treasure house to serve the Eternal One of Israel and obtain a victory over the idea of evil, over the pure inyan of evil, or to put it in Kabbalistic terms, the Sitra Achra. That is why we are called Sivas Hashem, the host of Hashem. The previous Rebbe cites the verse in Tehillim, "Make known to me the way of life," and states that there is a medrash on this verse in which David HaMelech asks the Eibishter, asks Hashem, Ribono shel Olam, show me the way of life, make known to me the way of life. That is how the verse should be read according to the medrash. And Hashem answers, is it life that you want? Look into the Torah. Because as the Rebbe points out, the Torah is an Eitz Chaim, a tree of life for those who hold fast to it. Continuing to analyze this pasuk from Tehillim, the previous Rebbe points out that it returns to the pasuk and says that it continues to say, there is fullness of joy with your countenance, or sometimes translated as in your presence. The previous Rebbe says that in Medrash Rabbah, in Vayikra, there's a comment that says that soiva, the word for fullness, should be read sheva, which is 7, because there are 7 levels, 7 madrigas of joy, which can be found, and 7 groups of tzaddikim, which merit to perceive and receive the Shekhinah. The pasuk in Tehillim continues. The pasuk continues. Me'imais beyamincha netzach, and bliss is at your right hand forever. As we said, netzach could either mean eternally or victory. So really, it means that there is bliss and victory at your right hand forever. the Medrash asks, who will tell us which of these groups of tzaddikim is the most blissful, the most joyful? To give the answer, the Midrash gives several answers, actually. It says that one answer is those who come with the power of Torah and mitzvahs. Another answer is that the most joyous and the most blissful are the teachers of children. The teachers are little children who teach the path of truth. They are destined to stand at the right hand of Hashem. All of this merit by these tzaddikim comes about, and also the merit of receiving the heavenly treasure house comes about because victory is related to the people of Israel and the land of Israel. Now the previous Rebbe goes on to explain that the mitzvah of taking a lulav during Sukkot is a symbol of victory, and that whoever holds a lulav in his hand is deemed to be victorious over the forces of evil. The same midrash we discussed earlier comments, 2 men appear before a judge, but we do not know who was victorious. But one of them appears holding cuttings from a lulav, and we know that he is the one who is victorious. What is the victory? It's not only the victory of Hashem over the Sitra Achra, or the Kedusha over the Sitra Achra, but it's truly the victory of the Nefesh Elokis, the godly soul, over the Nefesh Bahamis, the animal soul, in every single one of us. That is the true victory that we are seeking, and that helps us to win every war. May we continue to seek this victory, to end the suffering and pain going on right now in Eretz Yisrael with our people, and to bring Mashiach Tzidkenu b'mheira v'yomenu mamish. That concludes Perek Yud Tes of our Maimer. Tomorrow, Be'ezer Hashem, we will finish the entire Basar Lagani Maimer. Have a wonderful day. I look forward to finishing it with you tomorrow.
All right, thank you. And now, a word from our sponsors. PestProRidall.com.
PestProRidall.com, trusted by the best to keep away the pests. We are offering COVID-19 disinfection services. Mention this ad and get 1 month free service. Visit us at PestProRidall.com.
Tarzane Group, micro, miniature, and small orchids. Go to tarzanegroup.com or call Tomas at 305-440-0565. That's 305-440-0565. And order today. Visit Tomas and Yair at tarzanegroup.com. Micro, miniature, and small orchids. Beautiful in your home. Go to the website and read Tomas's orchid blog. And by Dina D Design. DinaDDesign@gmail.com. Fine artwork, custom made to your specifications. Logos, wall hangings, Judaica. And you can even have something for your child's room. Dina D Designs. Go to her Facebook or Instagram or call or text. Thank you very much to our sponsors. If you'd like to become a sponsor, please go right up here to where it says patreon.com/theactorsrabbi, and you can contribute even only $1 a month if you'd like, but that'll help us bring this broadcast to you on a daily basis and cover our expenses. Be sure to thank your sponsors when shopping and mention Breakfast with Elli when you're shopping there. There might be discounts. Thanks for watching.
Torah, 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 Tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Tziva lanu Moshe.
All right, patreon.com/theactorsrabbi or breakfastwitheli.live/newcomputer if you'd like to help out in helping us get a better, bigger, brighter, larger, faster computer. I know. Lots of words there.
I don't know that.
All right. Finishing off our overview to our Parsha. Since the Egyptian exile is the prototype of all exiles, and the Exodus is the precursor of the final Geulah redemption, the dynamic contained in the name of this Parsha will be repeated at the end of the present exile as well. Before Paro was crushed, Hashem redeemed whatever good was left in Egypt. Non-Jews who wished to accompany the Jews were allowed to do so, and the Jews took with them an abundance of material wealth. Only when nothing of redeeming value remained in Egypt did Hashem deal the crushing blow. Similarly, the aim of all of our godly work during our present exile is to elevate whatever we can from this material world. When the process is complete, whatever is too spiritually coarse to be adopted into holiness will be eliminated, and the world will be free to pursue divinity unhindered by opposing forces. But that has to happen naturally. That has to happen through our efforts. In our own personal lives, as we undergo our own individual Geulah, redemption, which will collectively lead to the ultimate general redemption, we must follow this dual process of elevation and elimination. This means that we have to distinguish between those aspects of our lives that are in essence neutral and can be elevated into elokus, godliness, holiness, and those that cannot. For example, someone who feels the pull or desire towards something the Torah forbids has to distinguish between the power of desire itself, which can be read and must be, which can be and must be reoriented towards holiness, and choose the difference between that and the forbidden object of his desire, which he must eliminate from his life. Moreover, we take our cue here from how Hashem told Moshe to crush Paro, to aim for the jugular and attack evil at its root. Everyone has his or her personal Paro, the aspect of life where opposition to holiness is most acute. This is where our primary assault should be directed. And when that Pharaoh is vanquished, the other obstacles in life will follow suit. Furthermore, you don't have to be afraid of this inner Pharaoh. Just as Hashem accompanied Moshe into Pharaoh's chamber and did battle with him himself, we can call upon Hashem to accompany our inner Moshe as it confronts our inner Paro and help us to destroy it. After all, we are children of Hashem. And just as loving parents seek to satisfy their children's desires, so does Hashem seek the need of every living thing. And when we ask Hashem to redeem us from the issues in our lives that constrict us or distract us from pursuing our godly goals, He naturally hastens to assist us in doing so. Finally, if Hashem seeks to free us from our personal constrictions and distractions, He assuredly seeks to free us collectively from the constrictions and distractions of our collective galus, exile. It's therefore incumbent upon us and our primary duty to beg Hashem to put an end to our existential exile and usher in the Geula Ha'amitis V'Hashlema, the final messianic redemption, with Mashiach Tzidkenu and the building of the third Beis HaMikdash, B'mheira b'yameinu, speedily in our days. In the fourth Aliyah, Moshe delivers Hashem's warning to Paro. At midnight, Kechatzois halayla, I will go out in the midst of Egypt, and every firstborn in Egypt will die, from the firstborn of Paro who sits on his throne to the firstborn of the slave woman. Then Hashem gave the Israelites their first mitzvah, that of Rosh Chodesh, determining the new moon each month and establishing a lunar calendar. Hashem also told Moshe to instruct the Israelites to designate a lamb for the paschal offering. The Israelites were to sacrifice this lamb and consume it together with matzah and bitter herbs on the eve of the 15th of Nisan. The blood of the lamb was to be smeared on the lintels and doorposts of the Israelite residences, and all those inside those homes would be spared when Hashem descended to smite the Egyptian firstborn. Hashem also instructed that all future generations would celebrate this day as the beginning of the 7-day holiday of Pesach, during which no leaven may be eaten or possessed. And that was given before we left Egypt. Think about that. All right, Chumash and Rashi with Rabbi Avtzin. All right. There you go. All right, Parsha Points with Rabbi Epstein is up next. Here we go.
Parsha Points for Bo, Wednesday. Attention, everyone, attention. We are ready for the first communal commandment. The first commandment being given to us as a Jewish people. Drum roll, dramatic music, rubbing our hands together with glee. What could it possibly be? Is it going to be some great mystical insight? Is it going to be some fundamental civil justice, social justice law? What could it possibly be? And it is, make a calendar. That's it? Yeah, that is it. The message of leaving Mitzrayim is that you are on your own calendar. You are on your own path. This is not Egypt 2.0. This is being on your own path. Get that right, and you will take that path to the very end.
How about that? That was great. All right, Shnayim Yomi for today.
Good day, everybody, and welcome once again. We are on the fourth day. The Aliyah is Revi'i in Parshas Bo. And in this Aliyah, Moshe tells us that he had said to Paro, as we said yesterday, he had told it to Paro previously, that every Bechar is going to die in Mitzrayim. And at that time, once they die, Am Yisrael will be free. They will leave. There will be a great division between Am Yisrael and the Mitzrayim, because in the Mitzrayim houses, there will be, no matter what the situation is, whether there's an actually male Bechar or not, there will be someone that has died, whereas opposed to in the Jewish homes, nobody will have died. Just the opposite, Hashem will skip over their house and create Kedushas Am Yisrael, and we will be saved and ultimately leave. And that's the beginning of this, that information that we're going to have it. But we interrupt this before we actually, the Torah records the actual event. The Torah interrupts this with the first mitzvah, that even though we did have a few mitzvahs in the Seder Bereshis, but this is really the first of the Seder of mitzvahs, which Rashi way back spoke about. Why didn't the Torah speak about when we begin the mitzvahs? It referred to here in Parshas Bo. We begin with the mitzvah of Kiddush HaChodesh, of sanctifying the new moon, which of course is fascinating. That should be the first mitzvah. But just to put it briefly, sanctifying the moon is not just any mitzvah, but sanctifying the moon shows that Am Yisrael controls time, and time doesn't control Am Yisrael. It is us, it is Bezdin, it is we who develop into Talmidei Chachamim, and to the extent that we have Batei Dinim that can determine when the new moon comes. And based on that, society exists, Yom Tov exists, many things exist based on that. That shows us, as the Mefarshim tell us, that we can control time. We, Am Yisrael, Kedusha. Kedusha by definition is never restricted by the laws of nature. We are above that. And that is representative in the mitzvah of Kiddush HaChodesh. And that's why many Mefarshim say it is first. And then after that, subsequent to that, this Aliyah speaks about the introduction of bringing the Korban Pesach and the purpose of Korban Pesach, as that was a prerequisite and that was necessary in order for us to leave Mitzrayim. Have a great day.
All right. And that takes us to our Parsha song.
They on their backs instead. To remind us we were saved, Chag HaPesach Hashem gave. In Mitzrayim slave were we, then Bnei Yisrael were set free.
Loving it. Loving it. All right. What do we have time for today? All right. We have time for, what are we going to do today? Rabbi Wilhelm.
Rabbi Wilhelm.
How can I help you, Rabbi Tzin?
So are you excited
I
for the
gotta be
skiing? Are you excited? We're going to go skiing now?
You see what's going on outside? You're wearing it. Show everybody your hat.
Oh yeah, look at this. Where's your skiing hat?
You couldn't find a smaller hat? It doesn't even cover your anyways, we have to be laser beam focused on the road. The roads are slippery. And what do you think about the fact that because it's a little dusting of snow, school's starting late? It's pastnish.
Well, the guys, I guess, have to be safe.
The biggest proof that's...
Speaking of school, by the way, and hats and everything, there's a little story that I heard from my father. That in Israel, there's a professor that stopped a couple of Taimani children many years ago. And the Taimani children had, payas and everything, and they are looking at this professor, and somehow through the conversation, the 4-year-old figures out that this professor is Jewish. So he asks him, "You're Jewish?" He's like, "Yes, of course I'm Jewish." So then he says to him, "Well, where's your yarmulke?" So the professor, being, a very smart individual, it says, "Oh, this guy is my yarmulke." So then the boy looks at him and he says, "Wow, what a big yarmulke and what a small head."
I'll tell you, he said a story about a hat. I'll tell you, the ice cracker relationship between the Rebbe and Rebbe Velvel Green. The first time the Rebbe Velvel Green, Oliver Shalom, came to Yechidus the Rebbe, so at the last moment somebody told me, or he realized everybody goes into the Rebbe's room, wears a hat, you don't come with it uncovered or whatever. So at the last moment he was looking, his appointment time was the middle of the night, and he went looking to where to get a hat in the middle of the night on Kingston Avenue. On Kingston Avenue there was a Miyasha store that used to sell second-hand clothing. So he went in the middle of the night and he bought a hat there. It was a yellow, funny-looking hat. But Elli bought a hat. So he comes in his time to come into the Rebbe. He comes into the Rebbe's room, and this is the first. He's a scientist or whatever he is, and especially finally makes it to the Rebbe. And the first thing the Rebbe asks him, first of all, the Rebbe says, "What language do you want to speak?" And Yiddish or English, whatever it was. And then the Rebbe says, "Could I ask you a favor?" And the Rebbe opens up that magical drawer that has everything in there. The Rebbe gives him a yarmulke, I think it is, and says to him, "Could you please put this on?" And the Rebbe says, "Mitazah hittel, with the type of hat you're wearing, ernst devart kemer zog. We can't say anything serious." This is and the rest, as they say, they lived happily ever after. That the beautiful relationship that there was between a Rebbe and a Chassid. But the Rebbe right away. Now I don't know if I could say anything serious with that pom-pom hat you're wearing. Maybe you're wearing it in honor of Parshas Boy, where all the kids pare in pajamas in the middle of the night. Is that for you? Is that what you're look like?
By the way, all the jokes aside, it's a really serious time approaching Yud Shevat. What do you have to say about such an auspicious time?
I was just bringing a little. A thought dawned on me about Yud Shevat. I think one of the most amazing things the Rebbe did in the first Maimer, we used to be individuals. We used to be everybody take care of yourself. The Rebbe introduced to us, you see I'm driving without a hat. The Rebbe introduced to us a new concept, Der Hashvi. I'm a little mini guy. Why am I a Der Hashvi? The Rebbe introduced to us the concept that you're not alone, and your actions affect the whole generation, and the whole generation is in this together. This wasn't a concept that was, everybody was told individually what you have to do, what Mr. Sneff. But as a der, this became a new slogan that everything we do is affecting, is part of what the der, the job of the der. Isn't that true? You ever thought about that?
Interesting.
So, what made me think about it in this week's parsha, it says in Chassidish Svarim that when the Yidden come into Mitzrayim, it says that these are the names of the Shvatim that came in. Ish ubeisai bo Mitzrayim. And it also says when the Eibishter does Makas B'chayris, it says Asher Pasach al Batei Avei Seinu B'Mitzrayim. So I saw in the Chassidish Sefer, I forgot where it was, he says, listen, the only way to survive in Mitzrayim, the only way to survive in Golus, if you get any closer, you'll see my hairs.
You have hair?
The only way to survive in Mitzrayim, alone, you can't survive Erev Asaretz. It's too many temptations, too much schmutz. The only way you're able to survive is if you're with Ishu Beisai, if your whole family is with you. It goes on both ends. A, you each need your other's support, and B, don't be selfish. Don't do it for yourself. Make sure your whole family. Ishu Beisei bar Mitzrayim. Pasach al Batei Avei Mitzrayim. Doesn't say he just skipped over individual Jews. Our job is not in individual jobs. Our jobs are daires, generations, homes. And when you come Ishu Beisei, then you're able to overcome whatever Nisyanis Mitzrayim has. The best pasuk, the strongest pasuk, symbolizing what every Jew's job is in Golus, is L'chol b'nei Yisrael ha'ya'er b'mei. Everywhere around us was choshech, and it was a thick darkness. And take it today, developed as schmutzig, developed as dark, but the Yid has to make er b'mei. You know, it says in the Yom Anan Paula de Yomama Anam. We are here to produce light. And I thought about light. Light, tell me if this is correct. Light is the only thing that can't be selfish. You can't keep it for yourself. If you open up a switch and put up a light in your room, you can't say, I'm the only one that could benefit from this. Automatically, as the statement is, Ner le'achad ner le'meya. One candle that gives you light, 100 people could use the same light. And if is what our job is, to produce light, it's producing light not only for yourself, it's producing light for the masses. And I think I just saw in the Degel Machna Ephraim or the Leviyitzim B'Ditchev and Likutei Leviyut and Likutei Kedushas Levi, where they say I think there's an accent here. The word b'may actually has two perushim. One perush says b'may means there's light in the darkness, in the Moshe of Mitzrayim. Others say b'may wherever a Yid goes, wherever a Yid makes his place, a chosid machta sviva, and he has to make it light. B'may. So I saw one of the svarim says b'moshav tam. B'moshav is b'moshav tam. Yaakov ish tam yoshev aholim. When you connect to Torah, right? The Eibishter is a source of light. When you're connecting with light, then and you're connecting with Torah, Moshav tam, there's always going to be light. And when you spread light, remember, it's not only affecting you, it's affecting your family, it's affecting your sviva, it's affecting the generation. And that is the message from the Parsha and Yud Shevat.
Beautiful.
It's hot.
All right. And that takes us to Tehillim. Wish we had more time. All right, the saying of Tehillim, so vitally important. Let us say today chapters 23 and 122 and bring our hostages home safely.
David, Adonai ro'i lo echsar, binos teshe, yarbitzeni, al memnuchos yinahaleni, nafshi shovev, yancheni v'magle tzedek, leman shemo, kam kilech begetz al moves, oirara, ki ata imadi, shivtecha u'mishantecha, hema yenachamuni, תערוך לפניי שולחן נגד צורריי. תשענת בשמן ראשי, כוסי רוויה, אך טוב וחסד ירדפוני. כל ימי חיי ושבתי בביס אדוני לאורך ימים.
שמע ישראל ושמחתי ויאמרים לי ויסעלינו הנה אלי איים דייסה יהודה אלינו בשערייך ירושלים ירושלים הבנויה כאיש יחור עלי יחדיו ששמו שבטים שבטי העדות לישראל להוידייס לשם עלינו שם ישבו חיסייס ומשפט כיסייס לבייס דוד שאלו שלוי מירושלים ישליו אוי הבייך ישליו מחילך שווה ויאמנה יסייך
Tanya. All right, Tanya for today, the 7th day of Shevat.
Tanya thoughts for the 7th of Shevat. God said, let there be light, and there was light. I asked someone to pass the salt, and I'm still waiting. Our speech is similar to Hashem's speech in that it reveals our deepest, most personal feelings. Yet, our words, once spoken, are separated, no longer within us. Hashem's words remain one with him. So as he is the source of light, his announcement of, let there be light, makes light. So as it is with every analogy, metaphor, or simile, the divine speech, human speech comparison is helpful, yet imperfect.
Let's talk Tanya for the 7th of Shvat of a leap year. Today we start chapter 18 of Tanya. Yesterday we finished discussing the long way, which is the first strategy the Alter Rebbe gives for how to deal and successfully deal with the struggle we have against our animal soul. And today we start the short way. And Alter Rebbe introduces this chapter with the words, Uletisefes bir bayer hetev milas mo'oid. I want to better explain the word mo'oid, the word very, which is in the pasuk and the verse of Kikari ve'lecha hadavar mi'oid. As we recall, the whole Tanya is based on the verse Kikari ve'lecha hadavar mi'oid, which means Moshe is telling the people that the Torah and the mitzvahs that I'm giving you, it's very practical, it's very accessible, it's very close, you can do it. And the question is, what is the word mo'oid, very? What does it add over here? Moshe could have just as well said, Kikari ve'lecha hadavar, it's practical, it's accessible. When Moshe adds the word mo'oid over here, very, he's telling us that even though there seems to be a path which is accessible, there is another path which is even more accessible, which is very accessible. The path, the strategy, the skill set that we talked about up until this point is something which for most people is attainable, it's achievable, it is karev, it's practical. But the long way depends on using one's mind to develop emotions. And there's a small percentage of people who can't do that. These are people who just, they're not mind people. They're not intellectual thinking people. And by the way, don't confuse that with people with low IQ. It's not connected. You can have people with low IQ, but they are thinking people. They know how to use their minds. There can be people who are very intelligent, and nevertheless, the concept of sitting and contemplating a certain topic or contemplating the greatness of God and thereby developing feelings is something which they feel is impossible for them. So there is a small segment of the population that for whom the long way, which we talked about in the last two chapters, is just not going to work. And for those of us who it does work for, at the end of the day, the long way, as indicated by its title, is long. It takes time. If I have a feeling and I want to modify, I want to change it, I want to refine my emotions, which starts with, as we mentioned, changing my perspectives, changing my thought patterns, that takes time. It takes regularly thinking about it, contemplating it, connecting to the idea, and what are we to do in the interim? So therefore, for those people for whom the long way doesn't work, and also for the interim, even for the people who it does work, what should they do with their struggle against their animal soul until they develop those holy emotions? We have the short way. The short way, ironically, is going to take us the next 8 chapters. It took the Alter Rebbe 2 chapters to talk about the long way. It's going to take us 8 chapters to talk about the short way. Yes, it's going to take us longer to figure out what the short way is, but ultimately, once we understand it, we'll see that it's a skill set and a strategy which we're able to use at will. It doesn't take time to develop. And in a nutshell, it's about exercising the Ava Mesuteres, the hidden love that every single one of us has for God. And this is a big idea which we'll be talking about in the following chapters, which is that every single Jewish person has within themselves a hidden love for God. And because I have that love already, I don't need to create a love, I just need to tap into it. I need to leverage it. That's something I can do at any time. Manufacturing a love takes time, but tapping into something which is pre-existing, that's something which can happen instantaneously. Now, obviously, we need to know a lot. We need to understand much more. And the basic questions that we need to answer right away are, what exactly is this hidden love all about? Where is it from? How does it operate? What are its objectives? And that's going to be the discussion in the coming chapters of Tanya. And by the time we finish, we will uncover a new strategy in how to combat the animal soul.
All right. Fantastic. Let us move on to Sefer HaMitzvahs of the Rambam.
No, it's not impossible that Rebbe did say, just study Rambam each and every day. I'll never miss my daily Rambam. My Rebbe so desires, I'm not busy or too tired. When I learn Rambam connected, I remain, I am a link in the Rebbe's golden chain.
All right. Sorry about that. Just getting something down here. All right. Rabbi Taub, class number 270.
Baruch Hashem, it is day number 270 of our daily study of Rambam Sefer Mitzvahs. And in the 3 chapters a day study track of Mishnah Torah, we're continuing in Hilchos Mechira, the laws of buying and selling, chapters 22, 23, 24. And our mitzvah today is a repeat from yesterday. Negative commandment 253 is the prohibition against cheating a ger tzedek, a righteous convert to Judaism, in business. We mentioned that the concept is called a nos mamein, aggrieving somebody in monetary matters, and there's an additional prohibition against doing this to a convert. I mentioned yesterday the thinking is why is the convert singled out here for extra protection under the law? I mentioned in passing the idea is that a convert is coming from another community, another background, and so they're more vulnerable. I'll sort of fill that in and explain that a little bit more. The verse that this prohibition comes from is Shmois Chof Beis Chof. That's the book of Exodus, chapter 22, verse 20, where it says, Veger, a stranger, meaning someone who has become Jewish, Loi Saine, do not, we're translating that word as do not aggrieve him, do not distress him, cause him trouble, don't bother him, abuse him, mistreat him. And as we explained, that means in monetary matters. Okay. On this verse, Shmois Chav Beis Chav, Exodus 22:20, there is a commentary from the Chizkuni, Who is the Chizkuni? The Chizkuni is a French rabbi, a medieval commentary on the Torah. He's after Rashi, and in fact, sometimes he refers to Rashi's commentary, about a century or two after Rashi. And on this verse, he explains something very interesting. He says, precisely because the ger did not grow up in Jewish society, he would be unfamiliar with Jewish monetary laws. And because he's unfamiliar with Jewish monetary laws, meaning he grew up under a different set of laws, it would be easy to get the better of him in a business deal. And that's why we have a specific prohibition against mistreating him in business. It's an interesting explanation that just sort of fills in the reasoning behind it a little bit more. Ultimately, as I've mentioned before, mitzvahs are mitzvahs not because they make sense, but because they are the will of Hashem. But wherever we can appreciate the aspect of a mitzvah which also makes sense to us, we endeavor to do so. Okay, that's our mitzvah for today, just that one mitzvah, and we will see you again for more tomorrow, God willing.
Over the last few days, we've seen that the Torah labels essentially 4 types of custodians, 4 types of people who have been entrusted with an object to watch or take care of for safekeeping. And the Torah delineated different laws that apply to each of these custodians. We've talked about the paid watchman, we've talked about the unpaid watchman, and we've talked about the renter. Today, Positive Mitzvah 244 addresses the final of these 4, which is what's called the shoel, the borrower, a person who borrows an object to use, at the same time assumes a certain role of a watchman over it. He's responsible for the things that happen to it. The Torah gives the borrower the strictest level of responsibility, whereas other custodians would only be obligated to pay for the object if they're negligent with it, or in some cases if it's stolen or lost. The borrower has to pay restitution for an object that he loses, even in a way that is beyond his control, known as ones, an accident beyond his control. For example, if the animal dies or breaks a leg, the shoel is responsible to pay for it.
That makes sense. Perfect sense. All right, and that takes us to matters of Mashiach on this Wednesday. Can you believe that? I don't know how it got to be Wednesday already. All right, matters of Mashiach. It was in the merit of the Jewish righteous women that the generation was redeemed from Egypt. No generation is redeemed save for the righteous women of that generation. Think about that. Our sages tell us that the redemption from Egypt and every redemption that followed is in the merit of Nashim Tzidkanias, the righteous women. The same will be true of the future redemption. Therefore, we must do whatever we can to increase the merit of women and encourage their performance of mitzvahs. In the following days, we are going to examine some of the qualities and mitzvahs of women, which bring particular merit to the world and hasten the redemption. And tomorrow, Hazorim Bedima Berina Yitzaidu, our PSAs.
People get that extra feel of love and that extra uplifting feel. As part of a charity, sometimes it's not only the food, the sustenance, it's making you feel the dignity of a human being and being part of the community. So making sure that there's
everyone a happy Rosh Hashanah who's celebrating. Meanwhile, the Masvia Soup Kitchen is helping families in need ring in the Jewish New Year by providing some staples for the holiday. The kitchen's chef cooked up fish heads as well as honeyed carrots and apples for those that will be at the soup kitchen. The nonprofit will be hosting those in need for the high Jewish holidays at all 3 of their city locations.
available by checking the word food. 7 days worth of pantry food and hot meals every single day. In Lakewood, go to tomcheshabbos.org. I'm sorry, tomche.org. In Rockland County, go to tomche.org. I'm sorry. In Rockland County, go to tomcheshabbos.org. And in Lakewood, go to tomche.org. HaYom, to help you out with all your other needs. HaYom has been featured in the news lately. The NYPD just honored them. Please make sure that you contact them if you need help. All right? Hatzalah Global Assist app, available on both the iOS and the Android stores. Put it on your home screen today. Misaskim in times of bereavement is there to help out with everything from A to Z. And Just One Shabbos, an amazing organization dedicated to bringing our misguided teens back to the beauty of keeping Shabbos. If you are the victim of or see a hate crime in progress, please call 911. And while you're out and about, wear a mask. All right.
Mask,
Don't
wear a mask.
forget your,
Is this really much to ask?
Don't forget
Tie some fabric around your face.
There's lots of stuff going on out there, and you want to make sure that you are protected and that you protect others. I think that's very, very, very important. Okay? All right. Let's do it. Bring heaven down to earth. All right. All right. At the core of all our beliefs lies the conviction that the underlying reality is really good, totally good, that evil lies only on the surface, a thin filter of distortion, soon to be washed away by the wave. Yeah, you know, we talk about filters. Everything we talk about has a filter, right? Oh, excuse me. Everything that we do has a filter. Our TikTok has a filter. Our Instagram has a filter. Make sure that you have a filter as well, and that you can see that through your filter and eradicate all the shtus, all the foolishness out of it. Talk more about it. Come to me on social media, any of the Active Rabbis groups, at Clubhouse, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Telegram, Twitter, WhatsApp, YouTube, theactorsrabbi.com. And while you
Baruch ato Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam boirei nefashos rabois v'chesroinan al kol ma sheborasa lachayos bohem nefesh kol chai baruch chai ha'olamim.
Man, I can't believe it already. I have so much more to teach you. I wish that I could. I wish that I could. Well, oh, excuse me. I thought I slept well. All right, here we go. Today we have an upmix. A Jerusalem upmix. We like that. All right. It is Wednesday. It is the middle of the week. It is hump day. It is Wednesday's We Wear Pink Day. Everything that you need is available to you. All you have to do is ask. Go out and do something good and something great for someone today. Thank you to my Patreon sponsors, Pespro Riddle, Tarzane Orchid, Stina D Design, Bracha Biederman, Avi G in the UK, and Reza Musavi. Thank you for participating. We appreciate it. Go to patreon.com/theactorsrabbi or patreon.com/ breakfastwithelli.live/new computer and contribute to our campaign today. Very, very important. We're getting there. All right. Go out and make it a great and glorious day. In the words of Rabbi Isaac Hamler, have affection for a fellow. Hashem will have affection for you. Do a kindness for a fellow. Hashem will do a kindness for you. Draw a fellow close, and Hashem will draw you close to him. Be the reason someone smiles, and I will talk to you tomorrow.
Turn my vocal up a little bit. Brother Marcus, this is Aliyah. I'll be going to Jerusalem. Jerusalem, if I forget you, fire not gonna come from it. Jerusalem, if I forget you. Jerusalem, if I forget you, fire not gonna come from the tongue. Jerusalem, if I forget you, let my right hand forget what it's supposed to do. Jerusalem, if I forget you, fire not gonna come from it tongue. Jerusalem, if I forget you, let my right hand forget what it's supposed to do. Ain't no one gonna break my stride. Ain't no one gonna hold me down. Oh no, I got to keep on moving. I forget you, fire not done come from it on. Jerusalem, if I forget you, let my right hand forget what it's supposed to do. Jerusalem, if I forget you, fire not done come from it on. Jerusalem, if I forget you, let my right hand forget what it's supposed to do. Ain't no one that can break my stride. Ain't no one that can hold me down. Keep on moving. Thank you, Hashem. Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Jerusalem. If I forget you, Jerusalem, if I forget you, fire not gonna come from it. Jerusalem, if I forget you, let my right hand forget what it's about to do. I'll never forget.